All right, so this is a Norfolk Island pine. You usually find a lot of these around the holidays in your grocery store or big box stores. This I've had for many years now. I don't know specifically how many years, but it used to actually have two more little shoots here that I think one just died, and then I think the other one was so tiny that it wasn't doing anything. I think I cut it off. But the reason why I'm making this video here is because I couldn't find a whole lot of information online about being able to bonsai a Norfolk pine. I've seen a few videos on Norfolk pines, but not specifically pruning them to bonsai them. This one here was growing in this pot, actually a different pot, but this one's been growing in this pot for most of its time. And then before that it was in a different pot, which a cat broke, let's just say. So anyways, here you can see the soil is down about 3/4 of an inch below the edge of this pot. Before it looked like this, it was basically overflowing and spilling over, and that's because at the bottom of this pot here, there was a collection of roots. The whole bottom was basically just nothing but roots that were going around and thickening up, and it actually was slowly pushing the soil up and up and up and coming over. So the story is that I decided it was time to root prune it. So I took it out of the pot and I pulled all the roots off. I didn't take apart the soil. I left the soil alone, and when I pulled it out, I basically just ripped all the roots off the bottom, and I left whatever chunk of soil there was there without disturbing the rest of it, and put it back in the pot. I also decided it was time to prune it, mostly as an experiment, because I wasn't sure. Like I said, I went online and I couldn't really find any information if you could actually bonsai these, because I know that they're kind of sensitive when it comes to pruning and things like that. And generally the way that they grow, it's not very easy to bonsai them in the first place, just because they grow kind of weird. That's all I can really say about it, I guess. So anyways, these were much bigger. This was about up to here, I would say. And it was branching off. There were lower branches, there were just 2, and then it started going into 4 and 4. I think it was 2 or 3 sets above here. And it was way too late to try to prune back the branches or anything like that. And I really wish I kind of would have gotten into the art of bonsai a lot sooner, because I would have then pruned it off much sooner when this was all still very green and thin. It would have been easier to do it then. But this is kind of why I'm making this video, because this has already been growing for so many years, and these are pretty thick trunks coming out of here already. And I wasn't sure what was going to happen. But what I did actually is I cut off it down here, as you can see, and I left these little needles here. These are basically just growing right out of the stem. If you were to cut this down to here and there's no green, chances are it's probably not going to put out any new branches or anything. It's probably just going to die back. So what I did is these two, I cut the tops off down to about where I felt that it was okay to do it. Otherwise, I wish I would have done it lower, but I mean, that's just not going to happen, because like I said, it would probably die back. These two cut back at the tops. I cut off most of the branches. And then this one here, this is the smaller one. I did not top this. I just cut the branches off here. Now, on this one, interestingly enough, what happened was those branches that were sticking out here, just like this, they were sticking out, and they were green for quite a while, maybe 2 months, and then they started looking like this one here. Started turning yellow. And I touched them, and they basically fell off. It's almost like the tree butted the branch, like a lizard butting its tail. I touched, and it basically was just loose and just came right off. And then since then, the cambium layer and everything has been filling in and healing it over, even though there's hardly any green to this at all. And there was 1, 2, 3, 4 on that one, I believe. So yeah, those fell off, and I thought the whole thing was dying back, but the rest of this has stayed green. So what I came to show here today, and I hope this helps people out there maybe to answer this question, can you bonsai a Norfolk Island pine? And the answer is yes, and also it depends. So the first thing I'm going to show you here is, it's probably going to be very difficult to show on the video. Right there, there's a little branch bud right there at near the top. There's another one below it. You can barely see at the tip of my fingernail. And there's a couple more around there. I'm not even going to attempt to show you. Oh, this is just basically just a sap string coming out of this. It's been coming out for a while. This one over here has the same thing. There's a couple really tiny, tiny branch buds right in here. Very difficult to see. And there's nothing else on that one, on this one here. Just a couple little tiny buds. And then on this one, what I noticed was interesting. Because these branches are still green and basically alive, each branch tip here that I had cut off, these were pretty long branches. These are growing 4 new branches. There's little branch buds right there. You can barely see it, but it's right there. And then the same thing on this side. There's 4 branch buds. So these are going to grow 4 branches off of these. So when I say it depends, I'm going to try to be quick about this, not make this video too long here. But when I say it depends, you don't want to prune anything back when it's growing. So like during the growing season, you're definitely not going to want to, you know, cut it back when it's actually growing and doing well. You could do it and might be okay, but the best time to do it is when the plant is mostly in its dormant stage, so very early spring. And it really depends how you're growing something, but this is in a window, so it is kind of in sync with the, not by temperature, but by sunlight and everything. It's kind of in sync with the seasons. So very early spring, late winter is the best time to do it, I feel. And it may sprout a new trunk out here at the bottom. I haven't seen any growth on that, but it could possibly do that too. But my tip is, do it while it's small. It'll be the easiest time to do it, and if you cut it back when the trunks aren't really brown like this and they're thinner and green, you can top it. You can cut the thin branches off. They're completely covered in green, and you'll probably be okay. But for here, from what I'm seeing, is that when the branches start to develop more bark and there's less of the green on there, you're probably not going to get any new budding on the branches. But definitely topping it is proving to be working. And I'll probably make an update video on this at a later time to go along with my channel here on my other bonsai trees that I'm growing. I just wanted to give some pointers based on my experience here, and I hope that helps anyone out there who's questioning if they can bonsai a Norfolk Island pine, especially when it's this late and this heavy of pruning. This is definitely a very, very big pruning for this plant. So anyways, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching.